Welcome to the Rural Opportunities Podcast. I'm here with Lynne Jenkinson. So Lynne, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and what division you're running for and all that good stuff?
Well, I live in Camrose County, Division 3, just down East Lynn Road. I've been here for 33 years. I have a background in broadcast journalism. I retired at a very young age, and I still consider myself young. I have run for Camrose County 3 times in the past. I'm going to tell you 20 years ago, so I'm not as young as I think I am. And yes, I was not successful any of those times. So I decided once again to run before I hit the lovely age of 60 years old. I run a campsite in Camrose County called Rosie's Retreat, and we do have a quarter section, my husband, Austin Hansen, and I. So I've dabbled in a lot of things, but since 2009, I've been with Flagstaff Family and Community Services across the border to the east. So I've been doing a lot of stuff there. And I am very involved in that community. Camrose-wise, I've been involved in the past, and my most involvement in Camrose right now is with the Camrose and District Hospice Society. I partner with them quite a bit. And I'm also a rural mental health animator, which is kind of interesting in this time of COVID and the pandemic. I have been trained by the Canadian Mental Health Association. And when I look at my past and what I have done, I would say the largest thing I do on an ongoing basis is I do government grant proposals, and I get grants for our region and that sort of thing. So I do have a lot of experience with that.
Wow. Can I just ask, what's a rural mental health animator? What is
Rural
that?
mental health animator. It's a Canadian Mental Health Association program, and there is one in the Roseland area, Bernadette Benfeld, and they train you, and you go through about 2 weeks of training, and it allows people to come to you or you to go out to the community to talk about mental health and how important it is.
Okay, that's very interesting. So you kind of answered my second question a little bit and what you've been involved in county activities. Is there anything else that you would add to that?
Oh, yes, definitely. I've been involved in the past with the Rural Advisory Committee with Camrose and District Support Services. I've also served on the Camrose and District Victim Services Society Board quite a while ago. It may have even been when that society was sort of in its infancy stage. I've been involved in planning rural education days when the CRE used to hold them many, many years ago, Megan. So that's kind of interesting. There is a tie there. Yes, a tie there to the CRE. You used to hold rural education days, and I would certainly love to see those come back because it educated both city and country youngsters on safety around the farm and also what the farm does and that sort of thing. And as we go into the future, we will see more youngsters, I'm hoping, involved in things like gardening and agriculture and figuring out how to grow their own meat per se.
Well, you'll be happy to know that we are bringing that back, actually bigger than we've done it in the past. So that's very exciting in February.
Okay. That's going to be very, very interesting to watch. And I hope you get a lot of youngsters involved. Camrose County, I'd mentioned that. I did move here in 1988, and I have a commitment, I believe, needed and the knowledge needed to be a good counselor and represent my community in a very good and positive way. And I think we need a lot of positive in the society we're in now rather than the infighting and the negativity that we're sort of getting swallowed up in.
Yeah, for sure. What is the greatest strength that you bring to this role, and what will be your biggest learning curve?
I think my greatest strength is understanding the system and respecting the process. When you're elected, you're only one of 7 counselors. So there's no promises made and there's no promises kept other than to do the best job available. And decisions come down to a vote. I understand also that administration does a lot of the groundwork, but it's our responsibility with honesty and integrity to make the decisions and stand by them. And I do see us moving into a tough time. And my greatest learning curve is going to be, and I think it's hard for all of us to understand, learning about the cost of everything in general. The cost of a mile of road is so much. The cost of a people service is so much. The cost of waste management is so much and why is it so much? And the other really hard thing and learning curve is going to be the ever increasing cost of everything and the shortages that we keep running into. There's a shortage of steel this week. There's a shortage of lumber next week. But how that's going to affect the budget process and what people have to pay. So that's going to be a very hard learning curve, I think, for myself and everyone, because we're moving into different times.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great answer. What is a change in the county that you would like to see happen, and how do you believe that you will be a part of doing that?
I would like to see more attention paid to economic development and the responsibility of the county to promote itself as a good place to live and work. We're seeing entrepreneurship really grow now because people are looking for different ways to make money. They're looking for different ways to support their families. How do we as a rural area show people and promote to people that we are the place to come? Very competitive process for all rural areas now. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I really want to see is that the rural way of life is respected. We are important in our whole economy. We're important in the way society goes. So we have to respect and keep that rural way of life. We don't want to be urbanized, but what can we do to make it so we don't have to pay more personal tax? We don't have to pay more business tax. What can we do to attract people in a responsible and safe way to our area?
Awesome. Yeah, rural way of life for sure. Why is municipal politics important to you? You said you've wanted to run a couple times in the past, so this has obviously been on your mind for a while.
Well, as I said, when I ran, I lost, and there was only ever one other person running against me. So it's really nice to see 4 people running in Division 3. That's probably the most they've ever had in the history of 100 years of Camrose County. So it's nice to see people being interested in municipal politics. And I think municipal politics are very, very important because we are at the ground level. We do basic services. Then we have to have really good relationships with our provincial and federal counterparts. We have to be able to show them and to have relationships with them to show that we are important on the ground. It's not just, people are not just for taxes. People are here to live. People are here to make a living. And we want them to respect us, but we also have to respect the needs of them. But yeah, it's an interesting sort of circle for people that, and it is nice to see so many people running even throughout the county. There's only one acclaimed when quite often the majority of them are acclaimed in an election and we don't even have an election. So that's very nice to see.
For sure. Municipal politics is where the rubber meets the road, kind of.
Yes, where the road meets the culvert.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Why do you believe that you are the best candidate for this position?
I have overall many years of experience with boards. In my job, I actually answered to 2 different boards. So I understand the respect process. I understand the voting process. I understand the administration process. And I have a very, very good knowledge of budgets and reporting mechanisms. And I'm able to ask those tough questions to get those honest answers. And I really have a passion for it. I believe in building community, not stripping it down. And I'm always looking for new ideas. And we really need new ideas, new out-of-the-box ideas, and how we all survive this pandemic and how we survive when the pandemic ends.
Awesome. So that's my last question for you. But is there anything else you want to add? If you're going to the town hall thing, if there's anything you want to say?
Yeah, I am going. Yeah, the Camrose Chamber of Commerce is promoting a town hall on October 6th. It's from the Jeannie and Peter Lougheed Center, but no public allowed. It will all be virtual, but I understand we will be in the building as the candidates. And I also want to promote, of course, we do have the referendum we have the Senate election and the referendum on the payments to our federal government. That's the Alberta government has hooked that in with the municipal election. So I'm hoping it harbors a larger turnout of voters. And with the number of people running for election, I hope it increases the number of people who actually get out and vote in our rural areas.
For sure. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how it goes this year.
I hope a lot more people get out.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, thank you for joining me and good luck to you. If there's anything else you want to add, you can. And Yeah, we'll try to tag you when this goes out.
Thank you, Megan, and thanks to the CRE for doing this, because in these strange times, we have to get out somehow to see people and talk to people, and in a respectful manner. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.
You too.
Welcome, Tina, to the Rural Opportunities Podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Megan. This is a great opportunity to speak with you and get to tell people all about myself.
Absolutely. So yeah, start off just introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Tina Sroka, and I live on the Denelda Road, so 184 and about 450, not very far from Kelsey. We moved here just about 9 years ago, and my husband and I both grew up rural, and this was a great opportunity for us to move back to the farm and have cattle and raise our family here. So we've got 3 kids. 2 of them are already adults. 1 is almost an adult. And so my oldest son, he bought a house in Roseland, and he works for Battle River Railway. And my daughter Everly works for the Cooperators Insurance. And she also moved in with my son. And my youngest son, Ashton, he's still in high school. So we got 1 year left to go.
Awesome.
But yeah, we've been very busy since we moved here. I bus drive as well. I work for the county. I run the transfer station at Kelsey. So I manage there, and it's been a great opportunity to get to know so many people in our community and assist them with their refuse. So it's a good job. But I also had the opportunity to work all summer for the county 1 year. And I took over as the assistant agricultural assistant manager. And that was an amazing opportunity because I really got to learn the county. I got to work with so many people and learn about all the different places, all the assets we own, including the parks and camping, as well as our water stations. I got to go out to all of the transfer sites as well. And I did a lot of weed inspection, just so many things. It was an incredible, really incredible opportunity to work with so many people with the county. So.
That's amazing. Yeah, it sounds like you've had an opportunity to get to know the county pretty well.
Yes, every single road.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you kind of answered my second question a little bit. In what capacities have you been involved in county activities in the past? So is there anything that you would add to that list?
I've always been somebody that I really want to find out what's going on in my neighborhood. Just even being a part of our Kelsey Community Society, that's been a great opportunity too, to fundraise and arrange. Recently, we decided to move our post office into our hall because we were going to lose our post office if we didn't. So I stepped up and did a bunch of fundraising. We raised over $26,000 with an online auction. And that kind of speaks to my expertise with online business and with communication. And it's always been good to be able to volunteer and stuff. But yeah, just being an advocate for the community and getting to know people in our community. Recently, I spoke with Travis Crawford. I spoke also with the guys that own Metal Necks, and just getting to learn about, with Travis, it was about the roads and what he does in our county as the supervisor, and road maintenance, all those kinds of things. So, and as well with Metal Necks, just learning what their struggles are, what's working for them, and how the community is a part of that. So there's so many ways that I'm involved in the county. Even just being a bus driver, I spend, it's about 1,000 kilometers a week I spend on our county roads, which I'm spending mostly on the gravel. So you get to know neighbors, you get to know everybody in the area, and road conditions and what causes our roads to fall apart. And, whether that be weather, heavier traffic, what hot spots we have on our roads, those kind of things. So it's all encompassing. When you want to be a part of the community, it is very easy to do that.
For sure. Yeah, it sounds like you're very involved, and what a great fundraiser for the post office. That's really cool.
Yeah, that was super exciting to just kind of spearhead that and get our volunteers on board and find our carpenter who was our head carpenter as well, just kind of organizing everybody who wanted to volunteer to let them know when we needed them, how we needed them. Even for myself going in and painting and fixing drywall and all that kind of stuff. It's always fun. It's always, especially during this pandemic, it's kind of like you've got something for me to do. Yes, I'll be there.
Right. Yeah, totally. Well, that's amazing. What is the greatest strength that you bring to this role, and what do you think will be your biggest learning curve?
I think one of my biggest strengths is communication. And so I've got some big ideas, some that can be very simply put into place even. For instance, I already use a program called Project Broadcast. And what that is it's a lot of people will, if you get a text, say you get a text from a company, like a clothing company, and it's like 321, 321. You may have seen those and they advertise to you, hey, we're having a big sale. But instead, what I would be doing, and I'm already doing this with my little company that I have online, is I have a full digit number. So it's like your normal phone number with an area code. So I don't have to share that number. And I can send out a text to 1,000 people. It doesn't even matter. It could be 500,000, 2,000, however many people I want, and ask the same question. And it will look something like, "Hi, Megan," and then give you the question, "How would you feel, or what are your thoughts on this issue?" So it's an easy way to communicate for the person who's sending the text. And it's up to the person on the other end whether they want to respond or not. And it gives, so for myself as a counselor, would give me the ability to get the input from anybody who's interested in being a part of that. All they have to do is just provide me their phone number. I can send them a text and say, "Hey, I have to vote on this issue. How do you feel about it?" So instead of just having a tiny sampling of, say, maybe 10 people that you are close to and knowing what their thoughts are, I can reach out to every single person in my division that wants to be a part of it, get their input, and vote appropriately, which is absolutely a great way to have a sample to know how your people are feeling in your division. So you're not just kind of randomly voting or doing what I feel, because what I feel on an issue is not as important as what the people I am representing. That's more important to me.
That's very interesting. So what do you think would be your biggest learning curve?
I don't think I would have much of a learning curve. I think when it comes to joining something like this, you've got 6 other people on your board of counselors, and it's going to be forming relationships with other people and gaining the trust of the people in your division so that they know that you're actually representing them and not just a tiny sliver of somebody in your own little pocket, so to speak. It's important to me to represent everybody. And so the learning curve is getting to know people, getting to know everybody out at Telecom and the issues that they face in their community compared to the people who live near Roseland or the people who live near me in the Kelsey area. Everybody has a little bit different perspective and everybody has a little bit different issues. So that's the important piece that I know I want to know.
Awesome. What is a change in the county that you would like to see happen, and how do you believe you will be able to help be a part of that?
I believe it's on budget spending. There are a lot of better ways that the county is already handling money, and really within every division, whether it be a budget for road building or a budget for agriculture, or whatever area that one person holds. To me, it's making sure that they're accountable for the money that they're spending, and that they're spending their money extremely wisely, because we've had a loss of oil and gas revenue, and we really need to be sure that the money that is being spent is the most important way to spend it. So I think that's really what needs to be addressed.
Why is municipal politics important to you, and why have you decided to get involved this year?
Well, I already feel like, honestly, I've been thinking of doing this for many years. I know for me personally, I felt like Don Gregowich did an amazing job. And there was no sense in running against him because he was the guy for the job. He filled that position wonderfully. And it was, for me at that point, more important to just keep an ear out and listen and talk with Don and find out what answers he was giving so that he could be accountable to us as the people. So for me as a citizen, and when I needed to, I showed up to council meetings and I made my thoughts known. So that was important for me at that time. But now that he's no longer running, he's retired, he's moved away, we need somebody like me to fill this spot because I'm young, I'm energetic, and I know what's going on in our community already. I want to support our community as best as I can, and running is the way to do it.
Awesome. And why do you believe you're the best candidate for this position?
I think I've already said a little bit about that. I have a very empathetic being. I've always been an empathetic person, even to my own detriment. Where when somebody does me wrong, I'm always looking from their side of why did they come to that conclusion? Why did they act in a certain way? But empathy is really important because it's not about me. It's about other people. And you need somebody to be that funnel, to be able to bring in that information from so many different people, from so many different perspectives, and to be able to make those decisions that are sometimes really tough to make. But I know for myself, I've always been an action person. I don't waffle. I see something that needs to be done and I get it done. And I know from the amount of support that I've gotten from my nearest neighbors that they know too that that's how I act. When something needs to be done, it gets done, and it gets done now. And we need people like that. We need more people like that who are not scared to stick their head up and say what needs to be done, make a plan, and make it happen.
Amazing. There we go. Well, that's my last question for you. Is there anything that you want to add, Tina?
Yeah, just to encourage people to get out and vote. Even if you're not voting for me, that's fine. The democratic process works, and we need as many people as possible to show up on October 18th, come to the Kelsey Hall or come to Roseland and let your answers be known, especially with the referendum questions that we have. I think those are super important to answer with the daylight savings and the equalization payments. Those are two really, really good topics that we need to let our Alberta government know how we feel. And then also take a look at the candidates for Senate and vote for those. I've always been a huge believer of getting out and voting, and I really want to encourage as many people to come out.
Absolutely. Get out there and vote.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. And
yeah, thank you, Megan.
Yeah, it was great to meet you.
Yes, good to meet you too.
Hi, Karen. Thank you for joining me on the Rural Opportunities podcast.
Thank you, Megan, for allowing me this opportunity to speak with you today.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll let you start off with just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Karen Forster, and I'm a Camrose County candidate for Division 1, the Bashaw Meeting Creek area. I come from a family who have dedicated their lives to agriculture and public service. My grandfather was a Saskatchewan farmer. My cousins were dairy farmers. My father was a World War II veteran, as were my uncles during the Korean conflicts. My father, upon retirement, began a career in local politics, serving in the Alex Council here in Alberta, and eventually as mayor of that town for over 6 years. These examples of self-sacrifice and public service instilled in me a desire to serve my local communities. I moved to the Mirror area and later Alex along with my parents in 1974. I then joined the Canadian military and moved throughout Canada, holding various more senior positions in the Canadian Air Force, including many volunteer positions within those local communities. Upon retirement, I began a teaching career in the rural community, and I went overseas to rural Germany. I retired from teaching to take up the role as a full-time nanny for my grandchildren, which was very enlightening and rewarding. I have a strong background, I feel, in the agrarian needs, as well as the inner workings of government and administration. I now have returned to the Buffalo Lake area, and I wish to continue my public service as a candidate for the Camrose County Council for Division 1. That's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your service, Karen.
Thank you. You're quite welcome.
In what capacities have you been involved in county activities in the past? Anything in the community or?
As I said, in my opening comments, I was volunteer for many different communities throughout Canada, not just, of course, in this area. I was an elected director for a credit union. I was a president of various parent councils throughout my career and the students' career for my children. I was an organizer for a local political candidate in Ottawa, and I am presently a community volunteer here in the Buffalo Lake area.
Wow, it sounds like you bring a lot of great experience to the table. What do you believe is your biggest strength that you bring to this role, and what will be your biggest learning curve?
I believe that my greatest strengths are threefold. I'm a problem solver. I have the ability to see a situation from different perspectives. I can accomplish the job even in the face of difficult obstacles. I feel that I have strong communication skills, and I feel comfortable presenting to senior executives and discussing issues with other team members. I have a strong work ethic. When I commit to a deadline or a project, I do what is necessary to deliver. For example, over the last 12 days, I volunteered to organize a move of an entire international school of therapy for a very sick friend. This entailed tagging all the equipment, overseeing the transport to a new location, and the residual items that weren't necessary for the temporary location to be all correctly labeled, wrapped, and boxed, and loaded onto various trucks. These were long 12 to 14-hour days, but the task was completed on time and on budget. The business continued throughout the process, and I think we were very successful in achieving the goal of moving the school and helping my very ill friend. Mm. The learning curve, I think for me in this new job, will be what policies will take precedent over which policies. As a new council, we're going to be exploring, I'm sure, different areas within the division. And each of us, this should be a fairly new council with only one previous council member being acclaimed presently. So I expect that we're all going to be learning at the same rate. And we're going to have to figure out which policies we need to continue, perhaps enhance, which other policies we need to perhaps discontinue. So it's going to be a learning curve, I think, for all of us equally.
Mm-hmm, definitely. It's interesting when you get a lot of new council members all at the same time. What is a change in the county that you would like to see happen, and how do you believe you will help to be a part of that?
I believe it's too early in the process for me to comment on the topic in great detail. I would like to settle into the job to best see how I can help the community. As it is a duty of a councillor to first consider the welfare and interests of the municipality as a whole, and to bring to the council's attention anything that would promote the welfare or interests of the municipality. So I think it's way too early to say for me, I think this policy is wrong, that's wrong, etc. It's up to us as a council to sit down, assess our priorities, listen to what the municipality thinks are the priorities, and for us to put our resources in those areas. And I think that where I can help the most is, as I said in earlier comments, problem solving, trying to find out new solutions if necessary, just being a good team member, I think is the best that we can all do.
That's a great perspective to bring. Why is municipal politics important to you?
I believe that the greatest challenge with the next council will be to address the possibility of and complete visibility for all the residents in sort of the taxation, budgeting, and responsible fiscal management and continued maintenance of the excellent service that has been provided by our county representatives to date. I don't know. I've talked to some people in the local area. They have certain issues that they would like to see brought to the fore. And as the previous council has been doing, I think, an excellent job in all areas. Certain aspects we have had various council members bring forward excellent points, and our communities as a whole throughout the county of Camrose has greatly been enhanced by these policies and the responsible fiscal management. And I would like to see that continue and make sure that we are in a surplus position so that we can help any other groups that may come forward at any point in time. So for me, it's with my background in finance, it's certainly keeping responsible government and responsible finance at the top of the list for me.
Amazing. And why do you believe that you're the best candidate for this position in your division?
I have graduate degrees in finance, personal counseling, and education. I have an extensive experience in administration, finance, budgeting, human resources, management, team building, and achieving all established goals. I was a senior military officer for 25 years, a project director for an information technology project where I saved several $1 million in federal tax dollars by implementing creative solutions to what is now considered the existing national defense intranet, not the internet, but the intra, which I'm sure you are aware of is local with any company. They have their own intranet, and we developed that quite extensively back. Now, this is a few years ago, albeit, but it was the precursor to what is now the intranet within national defense. I think the job of a county councillor is a good fit for my experience and my interests. I do a lot of kayaking, paddleboarding, bicycling. So I'm a little bit of a fitness enthusiast. And out here in the county, in this particular part, Buffalo Lake, we have all of those activities and many more. So I think my experience and interests are a good fit for this this Division 1.
Amazing. So that is my last question for you, but is there anything else that you would like to add?
I just want to say that I've certainly enjoyed my time here. I think this is a wonderful community, and I certainly want to have the opportunity to represent it on an ongoing basis. And I think I bring a lot of experience and good ideas to the table. I want to be part of the team. So I look forward to the day that we're going to have our vote, and hopefully I'm one of the successful candidates. And thank you again for allowing me to talk to you over this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining me, Karen.
Thank you.